I'm Scott L. Miller. It is Thursday, the 12th of August, 2021. This is Sheep Guarding Llama. Welcome to the show. And today really was all about doing our visas. However, a ton of work has been being done at the hotel today. So I did yesterday's video early this morning. Now I'm doing this at 6 o'clock. So I took off the polarizing filter. This is straight on lens. This is how dark everything is. We have this new roof is, at this point, the tree is all but gone. It's basically a really tall stump at this point. And yeah, it's a very different place. But we have a lot of, the structure is in down here. The foundation is going in. So that's all concrete and cinder block. But what a mess it is making here at the hotel. I'm gonna step forward and show you in just a second. As Wilbur keeps driving by. You can see behind me, there is just a ton of construction debris and setup and prep as we prepare to get everything done at the hotel. So concrete's being done, foundation's being done, the digging is finally over, making real progress though. It's great. We just have so much being done. It's gonna be a major improvement to the hotel overall. We're gonna have a lot more working space. We're gonna have better working conditions. We're gonna have working plumbing, we hope. So it's a lot, and it's a pretty major investment. And as soon as this is done, the range hoods start going in. So I need to walk past this music. Hopefully Google is not picking it up. I have no idea what it is. All right, so did some work this morning, had meetings early this morning, went well. It was a good morning, but it was busy at work. Had some breakfast, had breakfast burritos, or tacos actually, at the hotel. Our local police. And so today, as soon as meetings were over, our driver picked us up and took us to León. We got there, it was kind of late because of my meeting, so we weren't able to go straight to immigration, or migracion as it's called, and instead we went to Mañana Mañana and got some lunch. It's nothing special, like it was a nice place, nice people, good service, but it was slow, and Dominica's right, the food was not anything to write home about. Technically, I'm writing home about it right now, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But it was, I got a vegetarian panini, which is of course the wrong word, it's a panino, but it was good, but it wasn't great. Everyone got waffles. They were okay, but they weren't great. Ivonne, who went with us because we needed a translator today, she can't get a lot of stuff that they have there because she can't eat gluten right now, or maybe ever. So she got something. She said it was not really good at all. So it was, like, I mean, my sandwich was totally enjoyable, but I could certainly get better at our own hotel, which is what Dominica keeps saying about everything in León. Every time she gets food anywhere, she's like, I could have ordered this with ingredients we have back at the hotel, and they would have done a better job with it. So yeah, it makes going out to eat something we really don't want to do, which sucks because one of the things we like about Nicaragua is how good the food is, and being able to go out and explore food throughout the country. No good answer about that. So anyway, so we did lunch, but we were really there to do lunch as a practical thing and not because we were really looking forward to getting lunch. Bit of traffic going on at this time of night. And as soon as lunch was over, we got picked up by our driver, went to Migracion, and filed for our visa extension. Now, to make this real quick, the way that it works, as Americans, we get an automatic 90-day tourist visa when we come into Nicaragua. We can leave Nicaragua and automatically have that 90 days turn into another 90 days as soon as we return. Maximo, ¿cómo estás? And so it's generally pretty easy. You can stay indefinitely by going out of the country and coming back in. Technically, that's not staying indefinitely, but you get the point. You don't have to do anything. You get to stay and work and do whatever you need to do. And all you have to do is go in and out every 90 days. Things are easy. Now, if you don't want to go do that, there are ways around it. For us right now, we don't want to deal with that this week because our visa is up in the next few days. So we, instead of going to Costa Rica or some other country that includes a full border zone, so Mexico, Panama, the United States, places like that, You can't use Guatemala, El Salvador, or Honduras specifically for that because they share a border zone with Nicaragua, much like being inside the Schengen in Europe. So we went to Leon to ask them if they would give us an extension on our visa. Typically when you do this, you have to go to Managua, but that's 3 hours away for us instead of 30 minutes. Not really 3 hours, but more than 2. But it would be dealing with traffic and just everything. It would not be good. And our plan was we had to do that tomorrow. But so we ran to Leon today to see if we could maybe not have to do that. So we went to the office in Leon and they were asking a bunch of questions. How long are you gonna be here? What are you gonna do? And Ivonne is explaining to them, thank goodness we had Ivonne with us. And she's like, well, you know, they're buying a hotel, they're gonna stay, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, well, you don't wanna be going out to Costa Rica. Why are you going to Costa Rica? We're like, just to reset the visa. They're like, don't do that. No, we're gonna give you an extension right now, stay in the country, don't leave, file for residency, and all this going home for Christmas. And the reason we hadn't filed for residency already, well, technically we haven't filed already because all the stuff with the hotel's not done. As soon as that is done, we wanted to file for residency, but then we know when you get residency, or when you file for it until it is granted, you can't leave the country. So we are stuck. Once we file, we can't leave until we become residents. Then we can leave for 6 months of the year. So you have to spend 6 months and a day here to qualify as this being your legal residence. As far as Nicaragua is concerned, the US only cares that we're out of the United States. They don't care where we are as long as we're not there. So they're like, oh no, if we're going back for Christmas and stuff, you just apply for permission. They're like, of course they let you go. It's seeing family for Christmas. You just have to promise that you're coming right back after like 2 weeks or whatever. We're like, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh. So, they're like, yeah, and then you won't have to go to Managua ever. We'll do everything here in Leon. And really, they were very nice and easy to deal with. There was some paperwork and stuff. The whole thing was just super easy. So it ended up being a really great day of, it really didn't take that long. Luciana was exhausted and having a terrible time because it was warm, but it really wasn't that hot. And buenas tardes. And you know, she really wanted to get going and go home. But we were only there probably about an hour, and it was very casual. They had all the windows open. We were able to sit outside and relax. You know, so Luciana and I went and we sat on the curb outside much of the time that we were there. So it was not, you know, it was no big deal at all. She had her phone with her, Liesl had her phone, Liesl mostly stayed inside, and Dominica had to run at one point and go get copies made. Ivonne was there the whole time to deal with any of the communications, and the whole thing was just really easy. So after about an hour, it was done. We now have a visa. We don't have to do anything for another, well, we do have to go back to Leon in like 8 days to pick up our passports because our passports were sent to Managua. But other than that, we just have to, in 30 more days after that, we have to do this again and say we're still waiting on whatever paperwork, and they just give us another 30 days. And basically we just have to check in every 30 days until we officially file for our permanent residency, which should happen very quickly. Once that happens, this gets even easier. So this was just a crazy successful day. It could not have gone any better other than them just saying, you know what, you can be residents, we don't care, which was definitely not gonna happen. So we didn't even dream that we could get it this good when we went to Leon. We were really just hoping that they would give us a normal extension. This was perfect. So great day from that perspective. Once we got done, we headed back home. Ivonne went to the doctor because her foot has been bothering her ever since on Tuesday. She was swimming with Luciana, and they got hit with a huge wave and her foot hurt. And so she didn't go anywhere yesterday. She just babied it. Today she was like, I think I can handle this. And she was in a lot of pain. So she went to the doctor. She has a broken foot. So yeah, so we're hoping she gets crutches, but her phone was dying, so we don't know what the status is yet. You can see we got some dark clouds coming. I think we may have some rain this evening. It's hard to say. But it doesn't quite feel like rain, but it looks like it, but there's no wind. Yeah, so we got back. It was kind of late, about 4 o'clock here by the time we were home. So it was a very long day of dealing with stuff between, you know, it's a 30-minute drive in, then there's an hour of lunch, then there's an hour of dealing with immigration. Then there's an half-hour drive back. So there's just a lot going on. And of course the tree came down today, which was very sad. So 2 of the trees that really made a lot of the hotel feel the way that it did in the front are now gone. First the one about a week ago, and then the other one today. So I'm very sad about that because I love those trees. I love the shade that they cast over the walkway. I love the way that they made it look as you came up. Like, it felt like you're in a jungle. The whole top above us was a palm-based jungle canopy. So at no point were you ever like out in the sun. And when it rained, yes, a lot of the rain made it through, but it was still, the bit of cover over our walkway. And all the pictures we saw of the hotel before we moved here were of that. That's the, this feels iconic to us. And now that's gone. So I'm very sad about that. It will be nice to have roofs there. It will be nice to have all the other things. But I really don't like that those trees had to come down. That's a bit rough. So on the drive up today, I did manage to mount the GoPro to our driver's windshield and got a video all the way from the hotel all the way to Mañana Mañana in the market in León. Unfortunately, a couple times during the drive, the camera fell off of the windshield because there was a seam that I didn't see, and I kept putting the suction cup on it and it would lose suction after a little bit. So if you watch it, unfortunately there's a couple of those things that happen, but in general it's a pretty good video, and you can really see what it looks like going all the way through our village. So I'm just going to post the video will have already posted by the time you see this, so this is just a quick explanation of it. If you watch it, it is a northbound drive from the Simple Beach Lodge and Playa Roca and Mono Loco. I think Mono Loco is visible just in front as you go. The Simple Beach Lodge is just behind the car. Like, literally the car was sitting in front of the lodge when it starts, and it goes north through Las Peñitas. It turns onto the main road, goes the main road to León, and then through the city to Mañana Mañana. So if you look at a map and find Mañana Mañana, which is a cafe, you can see where we ended up, and you can find the Simple where we started and see the entire drive. So I think that turned out at least pretty interesting. So I'm just gonna upload that and have it available so that you can watch it. It's not a perfect one, so I'm not going to use it for drive warp, but it gave me a bit of practice to see what that drive is going to look like. And it's definitely too short to do its own drive warp, so at a minimum I need to have it be a drive up and a drive back. So sometime when Leo has time and the lighting is perfect and everything, and we can make sure that the camera is mounted and it isn't going to fall off, we'll do that drive and get a really good shot of the whole thing. So anyway, that is our Thursday here. Tomorrow, obviously, is Friday. It's the end of the week. This is a big holiday weekend, so we're expecting a lot of people. The big hotel down the street is still, not hotel, the big restaurant down the street is still closed. Whew, it is humid. It is not hot out at all, but it is really humid. And the big restaurant down the street has been closed all week because they had a COVID exposure. We have not heard if they're going to be able to open over the weekend or not, but this is a giant holiday weekend, so we're expecting a lot of people. If they stay closed, it's going to be that many more. Adios. So we're waiting to see what they do. The rumor was that they were going to try to open tomorrow, but we don't know if that's true. They just posted on social media why they were closed, so they have now... I'm walking through a dangerous game of throwing sticks. I'm being told to move along quickly. I'm in the way, but everyone's on YouTube. Say hi, hola! Nobody cares. So that our weekend is going to be very busy, and hopefully it brings in quite a bit of traffic. I'm just walking through the neighborhood here. It's so dark, I don't know, with all the tree cover, I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out, and of course my screen turned off, so I have no idea. Actually, can I turn it back on? I can, and it looks fine. So this evening I am off to get back to writing, and Tomorrow will just be a normal work day. We did have a very sad, we had to fire someone this morning, which we've only had to let a couple people go in a long time. We've had a few people quit, some for medical reasons, some because they changed careers. That stuff's not too bad. But we've had 2 people this past month who really had to be fired, and there was really no getting around it. The upside is there's no getting around it, so you don't feel quite as bad. It's not really like you're making a judgment call. So that helps in a way. It really keeps you from feeling like maybe it was personal or maybe there's something you could have done. It's not really like that. So that part's good, but it's still awful. Luckily, I'm not actually the one who had to do it in either case, nor am I the one who had to make the call. So I feel much better about it, but still really crappy. Things coming up, we have Dominica's big birthday party is happening in the middle of the week, so that's less than a week away now, so like 6 days away. And Alan is moving into town a week from tomorrow, so 8 days left before he gets here. He'll be in Managua that first night. I will then be heading, I assume that I will go with our driver to Managua on Saturday morning, really hoping that the GoPro's working and we can film that whole thing, because I think the drive from here all the way to Managua will be fantastic. That's long enough to get a really good drive. It goes through León when we do that. So all the footage that I did today, and I'll have them go down and start at Barca, right? Because it's only a few seconds down the road for a car. I'll have them pick me up, we'll set up the camera, we'll go swing around at Barca, assuming I get to do any of this, and come back from Barca. So we come past the hotel, all the way through town, all the way through León, see downtown León, and then out, and then see the entire drive from León to Managua and see Managua. Right, hopefully the camera can do that and I'll have the batteries ready and everything, but that should not be too much of a challenge. It's really not that far, and I have 4 batteries. So I am prepared. We still have not found all the extra memory cards for the system, which really sucks. I have no idea where they've gone. We had them at my dad's apartment, and it's not the kind of thing someone would steal that would make no sense unless it was just so small and someone thought they could pocket it. But it's not so valuable or usable, and they didn't know what they were getting. So it just doesn't make sense. There's so many other things that made more sense to steal if that was to have happened. I just can't figure out. It seems like we must have misplaced it or something, or left it somewhere, or maybe it's here and we just can't figure out where it is. But we have so little stuff here that it doesn't seem possible. I don't know. Anyway, so I only still have 1 memory card for this camera, and that really sucks because it would be nice to be able to do a lot of recording, but it really does last a long time. It's like 64 gig, I think. Maybe it's a 128 gig. That's a lot of recording, especially when you're doing drive warp, the hyperlapse, because it's only recording every so often and it's not recording audio, so it's able to be pretty efficient. So anyway, all that was to say, I will probably go to Managua in 9 days and pick up Alan, turn around and drive all the way back to Las Peñitas, where he will be living in a place he's never seen before. Alan has never seen Las Peñitas, nor Poneloya as the greater beach area, nor the city of León, nor the state of León, nor any of the states that border León. So while he's been to Nicaragua, he has only been to Rivas and Granada, which are quite different than León. So this is a pretty big move for him. I totally get why he's nervous about it. This is absolutely huge, just blindly jumping in. Now, to be fair, Dominica and I moved to Panama without having been there at all. We moved to Granada with having never visited. So, you know, it's not as big as what we've done in the past, but it is a really big blind move for someone who's only spent 10 days in Nicaragua ever and a few days in Costa Rica, and other than that has never left the United States. This is really huge, but he is ready. He is completely packed. He is everything is sold. He has shipped all of his stuff out. He's really at a point where he just needs to pack up his toothbrush, get in the car, and head to the airport. So we'll be seeing him in a week. I am coming up on Mike and the dogs, who are coming up the road, so I will let everybody go. I will see you all tomorrow.